Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to my YouTube channel again. So, I'm just going to go straight and talk about the crisis with regards to the crisis, rather, with regards to babies being abandoned. I came across this video and the mother literally threw her child into like a whole river and they had to rescue the baby out of the river. And when they confronted her, she was like, the baby has lived long enough. And she was just rambling, rambling, rambling. And, it just seemed the reports were saying that she had like a mental disorder or something like that. But to me, I feel like it is bigger than that. I saw the video and I felt like we should really be having a conversation about this whole thing with regards to sleeping with a man and getting pregnant and then not taking responsibility and then the baby has to suffer and then you get to live your life the way you want to live your life but then you make irresponsible choices and then you want to sort of like make the baby pay for those choices you made. And we're not even going to talk about the fact that as society we glorify this whole thing with regards to sex. We glorify it. We tell ourselves, oh, you're an adult, just engage in sexual activity. I mean, your body has to be sexually satisfied, your body has to be sexually gratified. Let's just hula hoop our bodies to be satisfied all the time. And the consequences of those actions, many a times we don't really dive into it. We just talk about the pleasure, we just talk about the fact that it is beautifully experienced and we get to release some kind of tension in our body, but we don't talk about the high rate in teenage pregnancy because of engaging in sexual activity. Excuse me. We don't talk about the STDs. We don't talk about, the rate at which teenagers are literally getting addicted to porn because of this whole thing with the glorification of sex. We are not even talking about our movies and how much they promote sex many a times in the society. We're not even going to talk about the music videos and the musics we listen to talking about the girl's body and the glorification of sex and how sex is great and how sexualization of women and how, this whole thing with physical body like pleasure and attraction is glorified, or even as simple as even the books we even read also talks about everything that has to do with I like you, you have this, you like it's just everything is just so choked up that we forget that there are consequences for these actions. There is a wise reason why we are all expected to keep ourselves before marriage. God is not foolish. God is not stupid. God is not crazy for making that, for literally telling us to keep ourselves that way. Another thing I came across was this teenager, 20-year-old. At least this is a woman. Now, this is a teenager, 20-year-old. She basically gave birth to this child in a pit and abandoned the child there and went about her own life. And then the cries of the baby in the pit was being heard by neighboring people and they came around, rescued the baby, but the baby didn't survive. And it just makes me wonder, you know this whole thing of sex has to be glorified, this whole thing of let's just fulfill our desires. It has damaged people's lives, destroyed people. I mean, relationships and sex and this whole thing with I need you to satisfy what is in me that is burning without no commitment. Just satisfy me and then we're about our way. Like it's destroying society. A lot of people are masturbating, have unrealistic expectations. I mean, the concept of love now has declined completely. People, when you talk about love, people are looking at you crazy. Like, what the hell are you even talking about? I mean, look at society. I mean, everything is so physical. Nobody wants to go. deeper anymore. Nobody wants to talk about responsibility, or rather, they're talking about responsibility, but people don't pay attention to that because, I mean, it sex has been so glorified that everybody just wants to do their thing. And personally, I am so burdened by it, because teenagers abandoning their babies, teenagers being abandoned by the man they slept with, children being rendered fatherless, um, people throwing their baby into a river or into a place where the baby can just die so that they can go about their lives. Whereas when they were engaging in the sexual activity, they did not decide to take responsibility. I mean, society is so choked up that I don't see people talking about the effects of this whole thing with regards to sex. Like, we have taught our boys through our music videos, through our movies, through our songs to really lust. We have taught them to lust. We have taught them to see women a certain way. We have taught them to see women based on their physical attributes, what they have in the front, what they have in the back, how proportionate and well, uh how their face should look, and how they should talk, and how they should respond. So the boys and the men automatically are taught that this is how women are, like this is the purpose of women. And then women are also pressured in such a way that they have to present themselves in a certain way to sort of get attraction. You have to show some things, and just, I mean, everything is just so intertwined in such a way that everything is just piling up to one thing: the glorification of sex, the glorification of wrong choices, the glorification of this whole concept of lust has to be the top priority versus responsibility versus family versus commitment versus sacrifice versus choosing to do things the right way. And so men and little boys are taught to lust, taught to deceive, taught to act in a certain way. And then the women are taught that sexual liberation is liberty. Let's just liberate ourselves, and let's just do whatever it is we want to do. Everything is just so like polluted to the point that the consequences many a times of these actions are not talked about enough. They are just tossed aside. Let's not talk about STDs. Let's not talk about infections. Let's not talk about people, children rendered fatherless. Let's not talk about women being abandoned by the supposed person that told them, I love you. Let's just do this whole thing with sex, and then I will just bounce when you're pregnant. Like, people don't even want to talk about the consequences of the glorification of sex, the trauma, what it does to minds, how it destroys families, how it destroys people's self-esteem, how people are literally going down the path of addiction, whether it's porn, whether it's drinking, whether it's developing anger issues because of relationship, because of engaging in sexual activity, because of it's just destroying society. And I personally am so burdened by it. Seeing a video of a child being tossed across into the river is not something that I'm pleased about. Seeing a 20-year-old dumping her child in a pit is not something I'm pleased about. Sex is meant for marriage. I don't care what people have to say about that. They might tell you, "Oh, I mean, I get to choose my thing," but it's like, you're not the author and finisher of your life. You didn't create yourself. Look around you and see the consequences of Even if you feel like you don't have any consequences, like you're enjoying your life and feeling fly, look at society. What sex has done to society, the expectations, the addictions, how people are destroyed. Look at society. This is not fun and games. This is not some interesting thing. This is a realistic thing that we need to pay attention to. The other one I saw was a 15-year-old was pregnated and was also raped, and the rape video was posted on Pornhub, and he was arrested. That's the culprit. That's the guy that raped her and posted those videos was arrested. But it was posted on Pornhub, and people that are engaging in porn watch these videos thinking it's all good and all great. Let's just satisfy our desire. I mean, it doesn't hurt anybody. You are watching a sexual abuse act. You are watching something that is the eyes that was given to you. You are using it to indulge something that's supposed to be sacred and something that was supposed to be beautiful and holy in a sense. Now it is you're digesting it. That's why when women cover up these days, it looks very crazy to some people because it's like everybody is opening up their body. So why the hell my storage space has finished? I don't even know if this part will even record. But let me just round up this by saying we need to do something about this sex glorification and sex and porn and engaging in sexual activity and not taking responsibility. This whole thing of sexual liberty is destroying people's lives. We need to do something about it. We need to start having conversations in the media, in all platforms, because society is really going down the drain because of these things. I'm just going to end it here. I wanted to say a lot of things, but I'm going to end it here because of my storage space. So think about it and help also by liking, subscribing, and comment in the comment section, and also do your little bit to make sure you stop this agenda, this polluted agenda. So see you in the next video.